Below, I want to welcome you to Calling All Black People. This channel is for the blacks who are disenfranchised in poverty-stricken systems, in torture situations, being raped and abused. This channel is here to help and encourage you. Salvation is here. This channel is here to help encourage you. It's also help encourage everyone to get the word out, everyone to work in synchronicity, to pray for the things that God wants us to pray for in the earth. We are his voice in the earth, and we have to know what to pray for and put into the earth. And he has sent me with, I am blessed to be able to have a great deal of prophetic ability. And he gave me a prophecy that he wants me to, or a vision, a prophetic vision that he wanted me to lay out. And it's a very, very strong prophetic vision. And it's probably going to be, in a lot of ways, probably the most impactful, most powerful one that he could ever give me, and is dealing with the rape and torture, systematic abuse of our children. I knew it was awful, but I didn't know this to the extent of how awful it was. But I am getting the word out what's going on, especially in Michigan. There's 45 youth facilities that are not only under investigation, they are being sued for raping kids night and day for days, hours, years at a time. 45 youth facilities across Michigan right now. These are supposed to be justice youth facilities and foster care programs. A lot of these were actually state facilities. Mostly all of them were state facilities. This stuff is going on. The word needs to get out. I want to share with you the vision he gave me. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I'm going to be giving you guys tons of information. See, I've been gone for a while. Satan's been on me to try to not let this information come out. Even this video right now, the reason why I keep on looking down at my mic, this is about the 13th or 14th time I've actually, every time something else was going wrong. I'm going to keep on doing, we're going to keep on doing it until we get it. We're not going to let him win. So go ahead and kill that subscribe button. Let's get right into it. This is the prophecy that God gave me. God gave me a prophetic vision of our kids hanging themselves. Show me our kids hanging themselves. And they were hanging themselves. So that's the vision that he gave me. He just let it stay there. But I could kind of sense, I could kind of feel that it had to do with different things, happenstances, rape, torture, abuse. I could kind of feel this was going on. Now, when I went after this vision he gave me, when I went to go research this stuff, I had no idea of the exact particulars of this. And the exact particulars that were in these articles that we're going to go over was exactly in the vision that he gave me. So it is our responsibility. We are the ones. Christ said that he is going to judge us in Matthew 25, I believe it is. It says he's going to judge us based on what did we go and visit him in the prison? Did we give food? Did we do these things to him and for him? See, we should want to be able to do it just because it's for the kids themselves. But he's like, man, if you did it for the least of these, you did it to me. If you did not do it for the least of these, you did not do it to me. Depart from me, you workers of iniquity. So I don't care how big your church is. I don't care how expensive your church is. I don't care how many cars your pastor drives or your bishop drives or these bishops or whoever these apostles. I don't care. Wickedness is wickedness. Sin is sin. And if we're not focused on that as the quote unquote church, if you're not focused on that, you're not focused on these things, because there's enough stuff to worry about. We've already heard messages on blessings. We already heard messages on faith. We've heard messages on every single thing you can hear a message on. We've heard messages on these things, but they're not talking about the thing that will actually move where God's grace is on these things. These are the things that Jesus told us to do. We're doing everything everyone else told us to do. The Pauline doctrines. What type of nonsense is that? And all this other stuff, the hermeneutics and all this Calvin, all these crazy things, when Jesus just made it very simple. Take care of the kids. It'd be better for a millstone to be tied around your neck than to offend them in the least. So this is the focus of this channel, because it's very meat and potatoes. And it's going to offend a lot of people, but that's okay, because on this one, I am going to quote Paul. We need for there to be offense so we can know who's approved among us, right? So that is the vision that he gave me. He gave me the vision of our kids hanging themselves. Now, if that's not gut wrenching enough, because we're about to go into some stuff. If that's not gut wrenching, if that's not enough to move to be like, okay, God, what do we need to do? What do I need to be, God? What do I need to be praying about right now? What do you want me to do? What should I do? Right? This is what we should be focused on right now as a community of people. This is what we should be focused on. Okay. So I'm gonna show you something, because the problem right now within the church, outside of the churches, with people in general, they don't know enough about the scriptures and how to use them for today. The scriptures are alive, but they don't know how to use them. Some people only look at it from a natural perspective. That's not correct. Some people only look at it from a spiritual perspective. That's not correct. You need both. It's the natural and the spiritual. Unless you have both, you're not going to be very effective at all. And he's moving us into a new time of effectiveness. He's moving me into a new time of effectiveness, right? If you're watching this channel, this is the previous video I did, I gave a prophetic, basically, outreach and basically a mandate to anyone who God has given wisdom to. Put it out in the channel. Go ahead, put it out in the channel. Doesn't matter how many people view it. I don't care how many viewers I have. This is Acts. Let me show you something in Acts 8 and 31. So let me set it up for you. This is a man who was riding in a cart. Philip was walking next to the guy in the cart. He saw the guy reading some scriptures. And he says to him, he says in Acts 8 and 30, he said, do you understand what you're reading? Look at Acts 8:31. He said, how can I, except some man should guide me? And he desired Philip that he would come up and sit with him. That Philip coming up and sitting with him, that was actually even that man being brought up. So that was his understanding. So Philip was down below, and him coming up, that's a spiritual, a natural and spiritual understanding of that scripture. Not just natural, not just spiritual. Him coming up was him raising up his understanding, raising up his level of understanding for what it is today. Not what it is 2,000 years ago, not what it was 40 years ago, what it is today. Now, where did we get that from? That man got that from, Philip got that from this. This is Nehemiah 8 and 8. Here's how the elders used to act. This is how the elders used to do before they started making it about money, cars, women, churches, mega churches, members, membership, tithes, all these other things. This is Nehemiah 8 and 8. So they read in the book of the law of God distinctly. This is the priest, and gave the sense and caused them to understand the reading. This is what we don't have today. We don't have the sense that's caused people to understand, because if we did, we wouldn't have this stuff in our communities. And it's like I'll just tell you this: Channel 4, Fox 2, WXYZ 7, they don't really care about what's going on in Detroit. They really don't. Like it's to the point where they report these shootings and it's the same thing. Oh man, we gotta, what do they say? Not gun reform, but like, we gotta stop the violence. Enough is enough. You said that the last time it happened, and the time before that, and the 700 times before that, and the 1,500 times before that. And it's like kids get shot, 2 years old, babies get shot. Kids going to school get shot. Adults get shot. It's like, it's the same thing. Detroit has more churches per square mile than any other city in America. This is factual. You can go look this up. They have more churches per square mile than any city of America. And we have the most crime. Detroit has the most crime. Why is that? Because they don't have the sense. They don't have the sense. And it's only a gift. What I have is a gift. What I have is a gift. It was something God put in me as a child. And then it's like, you kind of like, get some people to kind of help foster it. Kind of make some mistakes, you get some successes, then you get really good, then you get so good, God's like, okay, now I'm just going to make you terrible at it and give you back the gift, give it to you the way I want to give it to you, not through man's understanding. Because now if I give it to you my way, now he can only get the glory. So he gets the glory for that gift. So I give God the glory for that gift. So with that being said, how we get the understanding. So now we got to go to, what is it saying today? So today, where do we see this in the scriptures with our kids being raped? Where is it talked about in the scriptures? This is found in Joel 3 and 1. Remember, there is no new thing under the sun. Ecclesiastes 1:9. The thing that has been is the thing that shall be. And there is no new thing under the sun. What does he say? For behold, in the days at that time, I shall restore the captivity of Judah. That means they were in slavery. Now I'm going to bring them out of slavery. He said, I will also gather all nations, and I will bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat, and I will plead with them there for my people and my heritage. What does this mean? It means he's going to fight for us. See, people are starting to kind of know. Hollywood knows this, This is why you have people like Sandra Bullock. What's the girl from South Africa who calls herself African American, but she's not? Charlize Theron. This is why they all adopt black kids. Kim Kardashian. Even what happened with Shannon's accuser with the big black babies. This is because they know this is a reconcile. It's going to be a reconciliation because all this was a test to see what you did with the least of these. How did you treat the least people in the earth? And this is what you did. You sexually abused them, stole their land, tortured them, united with police brutality. This is what you did. Talked about them, called them names. This is what you did. The world failed that test. And now this is where we rise, right? And all the people who want to be Uncle Toms and just get on the side that's right or the side that's white, right? Everyone who wants to be that, you're going to just go away with them. This is why the scriptures say, I'm only going to bring out 1/3 of my people. 1/3. So I don't understand Jehovah Witnesses, the 144,000. I don't understand what that is. I'm not going to say anything for or against it, but I do know the final number is 1/3. 1/3 I will bring through the fire. This is in the scriptures. So 1/3, 1 out of 3, that means for every one person, there's going to be two people who don't. Two people who don't get it. And this is what Christ said. I came for this. He said, I came to divide households. I came to divide 2 versus 3, 3 versus 2. I came to divide mother against father, father against brother, sister against brother, brother against brother. This is the point. This is what Paul was saying. We need the division. At first, I was mad at division. No, we need the division because anyone who can't, any churches, because I sent this out to the pastors a long time ago in the church, no one got back to me. Any of the churches, well, actually, one pastor did said that this is not the hill to die on. Any churches who are saying we're not spending the efforts on this, I already know you're not approved. So I don't even get offended or upset anymore. But because this is where it's at. So now going back to this, I will gather on nation. He says, and they have cast lots for my people. Verse 3, and have given a boy for a harlot. Yep, there it is. And so to go for a wine. There it is. So when we have in Philadelphia, the cash for kids, we'll get into later on, cash for kids. They worked with the private systems, this is what happens when you have private prison systems. They worked with the judicial system and gave these people millions of dollars to take tens of thousands of black kids to torture and abuse them all day, put them into the private systems because they were getting kickbacks from the state. They would get a kickback from the state. They would take that kickback and give it to the judges. The judges alone made $2-3 million per judge on this. Cash for kids, right? Go read that, right? And then here's what the scriptures say: they never do justice. Let them off in home confinement, right? Let them off in home confinement. Tens of thousands of kids who were in this program in Philadelphia. They let them off in home confinement. Okay, so they cast lots for my people. So sold a boy for a harlot. So this is what they do. Okay, so let me keep going with this. So now, as far as what's going on in these prison systems, I just want to set this up. This is Isaiah 42. This is Isaiah 42 and 22. It says, but this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses, and they are for a prey, and none saith delivereth, for a spoil, and none saith restore. No one, and let's keep going. Who will give ear to this? Who will hearken for the time to come? See, this is how you know the NAACP and all these groups aren't for black people. The Democrats aren't for black people. The Republicans aren't for black people either. So this is not an endorsement for the Republicans. I'm just saying they're both two evils on just different sides of the same exact coin. That's what that said. Listen, when you flip a quarter, is it not a quarter because it landed on the heads, or if it landed on the eagle? It's still a quarter. It doesn't matter what side it lands on, it's still a quarter. That's what this is. This is about. So all these different groups, all these groups, with the exceptions of like BLM or something like that, but I'm saying all these systematic groups that they set up, and NAACP was not set up by black people. It was not. It was set up by white people in conjunction with some black people. But all these organizations just siphon money. All these churches just siphon in money for themselves instead of spending the money and saying, restore. We got to go rescue these kids. We got to put the command out to restore. They won't do it. You know why? Because there's no profit in there. But the profit is eternal profit. They are here for this profit, this manner right here. And God's going to give them their reward. But With that reward, remember, every man, a reward is not just good or bad. Reward has no a reward has no context to it in terms of like natural context. A reward is could be a evil reward or a good reward. And this is what God is saying right now. I am paying every man in full. And that's justice. If you've been doing righteousness, you're going to get paid full in full. If you've been doing injustice, you're going to be paid in full. So it says, who among you will give ear to this? It says they're hid in the prison houses. Now I haven't even gotten to the stories yet, but he says these kids are hid in the prison houses. Our men are hid in the prison houses. Our women are hid in the prison houses for spoil, for prey, to be preyed on. Not doing anything about it. So let's go to the story that started it all. This is what started it all for me. When God showed me this. Okay, this is the story that started it all for me. This is a story of teens now who are older. They are suing Wayne County Juvenile Detention Center. Remember, this is right across the street from the supposed justice system. And they filed a lawsuit saying their 12-year-old experienced this. The mother of the 12-year-old boy filed a lawsuit in July saying employees engaged in deliberate indifferent contact allowed the boy to be assaulted for prey. This is right out the scriptures. This is what I'm trying to say. You need to ask God to be able to help you align your spiritual and natural vision. Both. You need both. You can't just have one. Your spiritual and natural vision to be able to ascertain what's going on so you know how to move. I'm definitely one of them. I'm not the only one. Not even close. Not even close. Remember, Elijah thought he was the only one. It was 4,500 people that haven't bowed the knee to Baal. I'm not the only one. But a lot of people out here, introverted rock star is one of them. He doesn't get into the scriptures or anything like that, but he's doing the work. He's actually doing the work. And you don't need to get into the scriptures to be able to do the work. I'm just saying. So he's different. His approach is more news approach, and it's important. It's the stuff that we need. Um, so that's a one. Look him up, introverted rock star. He's really, 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 really good. There's a girl on the East Coast called Celeste Master's Voice. She's really good. People dog her out about this and that. Listen, for 15 years, she's been talking about the stuff that's happening now. 15 years. Okay? So now let's get back to the story. Though the county and state have since said conditions at the juvenile detention center have improved enough that they temporarily removed around the clock staff in June 2023, and the county lifted its public health emergency, current and former employees at the facility have said the conditions are dire. The employees are saying it's bad. At the time of the subject of this lawsuit, the subject was a resident of the juvenile detention center, would have been on St. Antoine. This is where it is in Greektown. The lawsuit alleges the man and other residents were allegedly kept. They were kept in 24-hour lockdown. This is not an allegation. This is what happened to them. Johnston began entering the plaintiff's room immediately after he arrived in 2018, and White brought him drinks that smelled of alcohol, sweetened with tea and candy and other treats. He could not get on his own. They allegedly worked in tandem to sexually assault him. This is Joel 3:3. There's no new thing under the sun. Sell a boy for a harlot. This is what they did over in Philadelphia. Okay, this is what's going on. So you're being aware. So forward this, share this, but it's going to be no excuse because right now God is asking His people to put together the justice the justice for this, right? So all the county commissioners, right? If you're a county commissioner, if you're a county executive, if you're a governor, I'm not just talking about Michigan, I'm talking about all the states. Your time is coming. Your time is coming. And this is why, because you allowed this to happen and you knew this was happening. This has happened decades before this story. Okay. This is just something right now that first thing that kind of came up when I started looking into this, what God was saying. But this has been happening with decades and they've already known this. Okay. The county alleged that they knew, I told you, White had several allegations of assault, neglect, and duties throughout their tenure. The county failed to do a criminal background check and that they had a history of poor work performance, sexual misconduct, and been charged with crimes involving sexual violence or misconduct. So what do we? So here's the thing. There's got to be accountability. Not that there's got to be accountability. There is going to be accountability. It's accountability right now because now the whole world knows what happened, and those who have the power to do and don't do, God is going to judge. So I don't have these. I don't have this one. These highlights out, but basically this was the same thing that I just read that was in all these facilities. What I just read to you, raping of males, raping of women. This was our girls, not women, girls, raping of boys. This happened in all these Wolverine Secure, Detroit Behavioral Institute. I've heard a lot about that. The Harbor Oaks, heard a lot about them. All these, all this is stuff is going on right now. All this stuff is going on. This is just Michigan alone. All these have current investigations and lawsuits against them. All these ones have lawsuits against them. There's Henry Ford up in there, Michigan Juvenile Section. So this is 45 of them. I'm gonna put these in the description. So this is what's going on here. Let's find out what's going on in Louisiana because this is probably one of the worst of them all, if there can even be that. Reports detail abusive conditions at Louisiana youth facility. Title tells it all. Solitary confinement of children is widely condemned by medical experts and international human rights agencies. When you have the world telling you, because there are a lot of black people in Louisiana who vote for these people and who actually are a part of these systems. So when you have the world telling you you're wicked, you are beyond wicked. When the world's telling you you're wicked, you're beyond wicked. They were in solitary confinement who point to studies finding leads to depression, anxiety, psychosis, and put the children at increased risk of suicide. This is what I was saying. This is what God showed me. I didn't know these were like the symptoms. But this is what he was showing me about the suicide, about them hanging themselves. Why? Because these things are going on. And before you guys get into, well, they did this, what did they do, or whatever, we're going to get into that because the Negro will always find a way. The unrepentant Negro will always find a way to to side with white America or society, whichever is winning, seems to be winning at the time when they don't know we're winning the whole time. Because why? The first shall be last and the last shall be first. So as a society, if you've been first, you're about to be dead last. If you've been dead last, you're about to be first. And it's that way even within your life. If you've been last, you've been poor, you haven't been able to get a job, you've had people fire you, steal from you, do whatever. You had all that stuff, you're about to finish number one. That's the way it is. That's the scriptures. Now, if you don't want to believe the scriptures, you don't want to even believe even the universal law of karma, that's even not even in this, that's outside of the scriptures. You don't want to believe it, then you don't have to believe that. But for those of you who believe that, this is what it is. So when the world tells you you're wicked, you're wicked. Louisiana itself caps solitary confinement at 12 hours and in most cases and 7 days for highly disruptive behavior. You're in a cell all day, said Rashid, who was 15 when he arrived in St. Marksville last summer after joyriding in a stolen car. He had only thin bed sheet and a state-issued clothes, no socks, no books, no papers, no pencils. Now, what you don't know is they're supposed to be getting an education. The kids who go to these detention centers, they're supposed to be getting the same education that they do in the schools. They're supposed to be getting the same education. So now, here we go with, oh, what did they do? Let me show you this. Let me show you this. Oh, let me read this and then we can go to that story. Conditions got even worse after kids began to use pieces of broken beds and light fixtures to carve out holes in the walls so they could escape. These kids were in their cells with no beds or concrete floor with state-issued green mattresses, flame retardant, a blanket, and a sheet and nothing else. No light, no nothing. A former TMP employee told them. Feces was being thrown every single day, multiple times a day. Not a surface in those pods had not has not had feces on it. This is the conditions, treating them like animals. But what did they say in Melville? Time to go round up the animals. What did they say in Detroit? Trying to run. This is where their mind is. As a man thinks, that's how he acts. As a man thinks, so is he. So is he. Is so as he continues. So this is once you get your mind set, you just continue this. You just continue like that. Now let's go here because this was really, and I'm sorry, kind of getting some got some new technology going on here. I told you what's happening to my computer. This is Ethan Crouch. I don't know if you guys heard about this guy, the influenza team. Influence. They actually made up something that said that he was too rich. The judge said that you are too rich to be able to understand the consequences of him killing four people. He let me show this to you again. Hold on one second. Uh-oh. He killed four people. He was joyriding, same thing that kid was doing, and that got him thrown into a pod that had feces all over it, 24 hours a day, no socks, no books, no pens, no pencils, nothing. To the point where he had to try to claw out with a bed frame. Okay? That's what he gets. What does this kid get? Ethan Crouch, often referred to as the influenza king, who was a teenager while drunk driving, joyriding, caused a fatal car accident that killed four people and seriously injured two others. His defense team argued that his affluent upbringing had resulted in a condition they called affluenza, meaning he was too wealthy and privileged to understand the consequences of his actions. This argument, while controversial, was partially accepted by the court and received a lenient sentence of probation and rehabilitation instead of jail time. This is when the scriptures say the law is slacked. We have that somewhere. Habakkuk. I think we're going to get to that today. I think it's Habakkuk 1 and 3. It says the law is slack, therefore judgment doesn't go forth. Let me see if we can get that. Here it is right here. It says, therefore the law is slacked, and judgment does never go forth. So the justice never goes forth. For the wicked doth compass about the righteous, therefore wrong judgment proceeded. This is the wrong judgment. If you're going to say anyone should get off because of conditions in their life, it should be the kids who have been poor, the kids who've been had to deal with shootings, the kids have had to deal with drug infested and gang infested neighborhoods all day and all night. That is the kid that you get off and call it Horienza or something like that. Because I was too rich, I didn't understand the consequences, so he gets off. Listen, this is not the only one. This is not the only one. Because you know I got some other ones for you. There was another one. Let's get this one right here. You guys heard about this guy. This was a big one, Christopher Belter. And there's another one I'm trying to find. I don't know the guy's name. I remember this one with Chris Belter, but there's another one that's almost as worse than this. This guy actually admitted to raping four people. He actually admitted to raping four people. And he got charged with it was like 6 or 7 counts of abuse or 6 or 7 counts of rape. But he raped four people and he admitted it. I think he raped four people and he did something else to two other people. But he admitted it. He had said, "Yep, this is what I did." Let's see what the judge said about him, because this is what Habakkuk 1:4 says: the justice is never given the correct way. He said, "I agonize." This is the judge, and I am not ashamed to say that I actually prayed over what is the appropriate sentence in this case, because there was great pain. There was great harm. There were multiple crimes committed in the case, Judge Murphy said. According to CNN affiliate WKBW, it seems to me that a sentence that involves incarceration or partial incarceration isn't appropriate. So I'm going to sentence you to probation. See, it gets to the point. Don't let them do this to you. This is the whole start. This is the whole Obi-Wan Kenobi thing. Though there are no people you're looking for. There are no stowaways, right? Oh yeah, let these people alone. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna let these people alone. This is what they do. They'll show you. You'll see how things are. Then you'll see how things judged, and then you'll see it judged against our people, and then judged against our people, and you'll see the disparity. But black people won't say anything about it because they're afraid of giving up their seat and their position and their influence and what people think about them. And this is the same thing that happened with Caiaphas. You can read about that on your own. But he said, no, we have to give up Christ to have him be tortured and crucified for 24 hours, because he said, if we don't, we'll lose our seat in our nation. He's like, the Romans will come after us. So it's better. This is what he said. It's better that he suffer than us suffer. And that demonic thinking is the same thinking. There's no new thing under the sun that's going on today. You're trying to tell me that him raping those four people doesn't even deserve partial incarceration, but these kids do this? Nah, I'm not doing it. You're not gonna put an okey doke on me. And actually, with that, I just may even cut the video short because I got other stuff to show. But it's like it's like when you see something like this so clear cut, it seems to me that a sentence that involves incarceration or partial incarceration isn't appropriate. So I'm going to sentence you to probation. If our people, if these people can get off with murder, rape, and just like, no, we don't want to ruin their lives. This is what our kids deserve. Our kids didn't do any of these things. The kid who was joyride, he didn't do any of these things. The kids who were shoplifting, they didn't do any of these kids. I shoplifted as a kid. Did I deserve this? Did I deserve that? Well, according to black people, I did, but God didn't see fit because he knew that wasn't justice. Because Bernie Madoff alone has stole more, hundreds of times more than every black person put together. Bernie Madoff has stole so much money, they don't know how much money Bernie Madoff stole. Bernie Madoff bankrupt Steven Spielberg. Now, you got remember, Spielberg is like any big movie in the E.T., all those things. This is Steve Schindler's. This is Steven Spielberg. Like, he's worth untold money. They don't even talk about how much money this guy has. You were talking about money in Hollywood? If Spielberg wasn't number one, I don't know who would have been. Spielberg was definitely number one. Bankrupted Spielberg. They don't know Barry Bonds Day. Look that not Barry. I'm sorry, Bobby Bonilla Day. Look that up. They're still the owner of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Actually, did a deal with Bernie Madoff, and that deal, because it did backfire. They're still Bobby Bonilla hasn't played since like the year 1999 or 2000. They're still paying this man every year. They pay him 2 or 3 million because of the Bernie Madoff deal. And you know who ultimately ended up paying back the victims? You. Yes, they used taxpayer money to set up some type of fraudulent new system and then be like, we need to reimburse these people, right? And then he lived in great conditions. Ghislaine Maxwell, they said, is in great conditions now. 20,000 hours worth of tape abusing and torturing kids. This is what's going on. But she gets great conditions. But these kids, this is injustice. And I'm here to call it injustice. And you have to look at it and say, is this justice or injustice? So I'm actually going to even cut this short because I think this is because I'm gonna do what Diddy and these guys did in the case. We're just gonna call one witness and then just drop, because I got plenty of more I could go on. I want you to look at this. I want you to pray for these people. If you've been abused, if you've been in these prison systems, I don't care how old or young you are, if you were in any detention center, any foster care, any pastor, any church, email me. Email me at abuse@damerich.com. I want to know. Email me. Don't worry. You're safe with me. Listen, I'm taking it to God and he'll tell us what we're going to do. But email me. I want to know. You have that outlet with me. Email me at abuse@damerich.com. I want to know about it. If you know something that's going on, I want to know about it. Other ones, if you have wisdom, godly wisdom, if you know something that's going on in these facilities, put out a YouTube channel. Talk about what's going on. Exactly what I talked about what's going on right now. Do that. Do as I do, not as I say. Do as I do. All right? I want you to know. Pray for these children. Pray for me. Pray for our people. Okay? I'm going to give you this one last thing. I gave you that to you before. Well, I'll just give it to you. I'll just give it to you again. Christ said, if you do these things that you do for him these things that you don't do, this is Matthew 25. He says, and the king shall say unto them, verily I say unto you, insomuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these brethren, you have done it unto me. And then he shall say unto them on the left hand, depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels. So he's saying, listen, you never came to see me. You never came to check on me. You didn't get the word out that I was being abused, I was being tortured. This is God saying, you didn't do this for me. So because you didn't do this for me, get away from me forever. So I pray that you were blessed by this, that you were informed. This is happening everywhere. If we didn't get to the story that was happening in LA, you can go look that up. In LA, they just fired 30 people and charged them with the Gladiator Fight Club because they were orchestrating fights every day for the kids. This is going on. This is happening in our youth facility. This is what's going on right now. I need you to catch the heart of God on this. With that, I say, God bless you.